Hi guys, how is everyone doing? Now, something is happening in Canada and we are about to talk about it. But before I can even start this conversation, let's watch this clip together. It's from a TikTok account by the name Pole Cassandra. So let's just watch it together.
What is the biggest thing you regret in life?
I regret in life? I regret coming to Canada because if I had stayed in the Caribbean, I would have been way better. I came to Canada. I worked, I don't know, maybe 20 years. I had to go back to my country. 7 years, living here for 20 years, 7 years of my country give me enough money to buy 2 properties in Canada cash. 7 years, 7, and 20 years here just paying rent and nothing. It tells me Canada is just a trap. I own property and it's hard for me. So imagine people who are from different countries for the first year and you're wasting your time, you're going to stress out, you're going to go crazy and you're going to die in less than 10 years, when in your country, which would have been harder, you live for another 40, 50 years. No matter how bad it is in your country, it's only going to get worse here. I'm telling you the truth. I travel the world, I live a good life, all kind of stuff. Idea of Canada is to get out of Canada, not to get in. And I've realized that between America and Canada, the people who are living back in their country are living better than us who are living over here.
All right, so if you've just watched that clip, it's from this man. He says he's from the Caribbean and he has worked in Canada for almost 20 years, but he had to go back home because Canada is a trap. Now, you can only imagine the mixed reaction that this clip is getting from, of course, Canadians and the people who have gone to Canada to work. And I'm just going to read you something here that says, of course, you can, as I said, you can imagine the reaction. Someone said after buying 2 properties in the Caribbean in 7 years, he still went back to the same Canada where he spent 20 years without achieving nothing. And someone also said a whole lot of things missing in this story. Tell me, what kind of work do you do in Caribbean to buy 2 houses in Canada? And someone also said this is something, the last one I'm going to read says, living abroad has always been my dream, but I realized that building my own business in my own country is even easier than getting a job as a foreigner. Now, there's a reason I played you that clip, because there are a lot of unverified reports that a lot of Kenyans are suffering in Canada. They're even sleeping in the streets. They don't have food. They don't have shelter. They don't know what to do next because someone promised them jobs there and now they don't know what to do. And guys, this is the part I'm just going to be very honest, and I know Kenyans are very hardworking. They are so hardworking. I've had the privilege of documenting stories of Kenyans in diaspora, in UK, in Europe. I personally have worked in Dubai and in Qatar. And if there's anything now from my experience, having worked in the Gulf, if there's something that I have learned is how hardworking we can be. Like, really, put us in a room with any other people, and this is not even flexing or whatever. I see how hard Kenyans go, because any opportunity you get out there is an opportunity to make your life great back at home, right? But I have also covered stories of people who go to foreign countries blind. You get what I'm saying? An agent comes and tells you there are jobs here and there. Please give 2 million, whatever, for visa, for tickets, and for whatever. And we are going to set you up with a good job abroad. And the reason now this thing has started trending, especially for the Kenyans who are allegedly sleeping in the streets of Toronto because there are no jobs or because they were promised this and this and that, is simply because this is Canada. Remember, these stories have trended for years. Dubai, Saudi Arabia, Qatar. It's always the Gulf, and I feel like the Gulf stories became so saturated that we started normalizing having agents lying to people. And now that is happening in Canada, here comes the awakening. But let's just go back to the clip I played for you of that man from Caribbean who says that he worked in Canada for 20 good years, but he went back home, worked in his own country for 7 years, and he was able to go back to Canada and buy 2 properties. Good for him, right? But then you can also get that comment that we read of that person that says they have learned that moving to foreign countries to look for work there is no longer the better, the better option. Like the better option, you can as well develop your place back at home. Sawa. So the reason why I thought it wise to do this video is, number one, I know we have a lot of people, a lot of our audience in Canada. We have so many people that watch us from Canada, and I want to hear from them firsthand, because these details are very scattered. It's like people want to say a part of the truth, but they are scared of saying the other truth. So I'm asking you, just start there on the comment section, start telling us what exactly is going on in Canada, because people allegedly are suffering, and majority of these people are Kenyans or from Africa. But let me play you another clip right now so that you can be able now to hear from this other African that went looking for the greener pasture in Canada. Yeah, so the clip, I have to credit the sources because majority of these clips are internal. The clips that we are about to listen to comes from a TikTok page, Brandon Gomez. So let's hear this.
It's a month.
How long have you been outside for?
It's a month.
Desperate refugees who've come to Canada looking for a safe haven are now living on the streets. How hard has this been on you?
So hard. It's unspeakable. It's so hard.
The problem? The city of Toronto says there's just no more space in their shelter system, and that the federal government needs to pony up some cash to help create that space.
We also know that refugees is also a federal responsibility, and we need at least $160 million from the federal government to help us in sheltering these refugees.
Now, while that bickering continues back and forth, left in the middle are those folks just looking for help. What keeps you going every single day? What keeps you...
Hope. The hope I had when I was coming, it's the same hope that keeps me going.
Yeah, so you've heard for yourselves, and I love that there are images that are showcasing that this really is happening. And now, of course, it's a refugee situation, because the unverified reports coming in that Kenyans who went there to look for greener pasture, and then they found out that someone had lied to them, are now part of that refugee. They are now part of the refugees, right? And also, let me just quickly play you another clip here that says thousands of Kenyans in Canada sleeping on the streets after being abandoned by agents and lack of job opportunities. Here we go. Yeah, I'm sure you can see those are people sleeping on the streets, right? But there's a question we have not asked ourselves here, and I get why people, Canadians, are also replying to people and telling them, go back to Africa, go develop your country. Why do you have to come here? And I was just doing a bit of research, and Canada is actually the 25th most expensive country in the world. Are we okay? But then someone put out a TikTok video telling people that in Canada, you just don't go and look for any jobs. You have to have high skills, like those high skills that are going to give you greater funds, things like data analysis, web development, cloud computing, AI itself, cyber security. But it appears that people are not even doing their research when it comes to going to Canada, because any job can pass, So let me just play you this one last clip from this person here so that we are able to understand. Let me just play you so that we are able to understand or pick something from from him. So the clip is from Amika Javi. It's also on TikTok. Let's listen in.
There is no job in Canada. That is correct. You will struggle financially in Canada. That is correct as well. But the key is if you do not have a skill. Canada is only looking for skilled people. You need to have a high income skill in order to be successful and make a lot of money in Canada. I've already made videos about what kind of a skill set you will need and what kind of jobs available in Canada. So you either get those skills in your home country and work in those fields until you're expert and you can bring value to Canada, or you can come to Canada, study at a college and gain those skills to be able to enter job market. And I always tell my clients upfront, straightforward and honest, if you aren't able to secure a job while in Canada, you will struggle financially.
Yeah, and I like how he's very honest. He's telling you if you don't have high-skilled jobs, then Canada is not a place for you. And you have to be able to study those. Become an expert first in your home country before you can be able to go to Canada, because if you don't get those jobs, you're going to struggle financially, right? A lot of Canadians are also talking about the high cost of living in Canada, which now makes me wonder, are we even doing enough research before we go to look for greener pastures in these foreign countries? Because the irony is having people who are complaining that the cost of living is so hard. Like, look at us right now in Kenya. The cost of living is so hard right now. So why would anyone even want to come and work here and live better opportunities in their country, come and work in a place that the cost of living is so high? So you get the irony. That's why people are actually questioning this whole Canadian thing. And you have a lot of agents talking to you about great jobs in Canada, talking to you about greener pastures in Canada. But even you, because you wouldn't actually blame the Canadian government right now. It's not like I'm excusing them or I'm saying, oh, please don't do what you need to do. But you gotta ask yourself these questions even before you leave your home country. I understand things are tough here back at home, but what knowledge, number one, what skills, number two, what research, number three, have you done to make sure that even when you go out there, you are not going to face those problems? And now, what do? The government is not talking. Of course, the Canadian government is not talking. For the people who are watching, and even if you are not from Africa, even if you are just a Canadian and you get to bump into this video, could you tell us on the comment section, what should people actually do? Because I saw another video and I didn't want to play so many, but let me just play you this video from a Canadian herself talking about the high cost of living and why she's leaving Canada. A lot of people are also leaving Canada. They are leaving Canada, so they are exiting, we are entering. And I'm sure we are not likely going to find better conditions. If they are exiting, something is an issue. So why do they have to exit and we also enter? And I know I'm not ignorant. I'm not saying things here are easy. I know things here are so easy, but have I also interviewed a lot of people in diaspora and they've told me, Lynn, if you have a way to make it work in your home country, please do so. Please do so. Have we been so conditioned to think that the foreign countries have great, I know, as a matter of structures, systems, and like you go to the UK, everything there works. Structures work, the roads, everything works. I'm telling you, everything works there. And the maintenance cost is also so high. The taxes those people pay is crazy. I mean, we just went parking in Netherlands and we were there for like, I think 3 to 4 hours. And we paid parking here almost 4,500 shillings. You get what I'm saying? 4,500 shillings. That was the parking cost. The cost of living there is so high. And some of the people that we have had to interview on our shows have also expressed and told us why the taxes there are high, because education is free, health is free, all these things are free. So you understand, you will work, and almost 60% of your income goes straight to tax, because they need to maintain that kind of lifestyle. They need to maintain the health sector, the education sector, the infrastructure, all those things, right? So if we are going to those places and we don't have this knowledge, and someone tells you that you're going to earn say 200,000 Kenya shillings. Now, you can convert na ya Canada. You're going to earn 200,000. All you see here in Kenya is, I'm going to earn 200,000 Kenya shillings. But no one is breaking it to you that you might end up actually going home with only 40,000. Rent is crazy. Even their own citizens cannot. You go to the UK alone, rent in itself, it's so crazy. It's so crazy. And you are like, oh my God, people here work so hard. People are doing 3 jobs. You go there with the mentality that I'm only going to do 1 job. This job I'm going to earn 200,000 Kenya shillings. You've not done the tax. You've not done the rent. You've not done the transport. Oh my God, the food itself. All these things. You gotta do these things, So let me just play you this last video, and then you guys can share your thoughts with me on the same. It's this woman. I really felt for her. So let me just share it, and you guys can tell me what you think.
I want to know how the hell people in Canada are even living. I generally consider myself a positive person. I'm resourceful, but some stuff happened around the property, and well, I know I'll never truly be homeless. I have family to live with, and I have options. I'm luckier than a lot of other people, but how the hell is anyone existing in Canada? I feel trapped. And I just got a good job. I started in September, but even with that job, it pays less than 40 grand a year. And it's a job that requires education, and even on that job, I still can't do shit. I can't buy anything. I can't afford the rent these days. I'm just feeling so much despair, and I know I'm normally really, really positive, but I'm just how is everyone else, and are you okay? Because the answer is probably no.
Yeah, so I feel like you can watch also the full clip on her TikTok, Homestead Millennial. It's right there with a lot of reaction, and people here are saying, what is actually happening in Canada financially speaking? That's a question someone is asking there. And we have a Kenyan in the comment section says, even in Kenya, the inflation is crazy and it is really hard, And someone said, it's everywhere. We are all just surviving, not living. So is this just bad publicity on Canada? Is it bad publicity? Because it appears this is happening everywhere. The cost of living is high everywhere. Someone said the inflation in our own country. Sijui sahi kerosene na diesel zinaendanisha pamoja. Who even buys kerosene a liter over 200 Kenya shillings? I mean, but why do we expect that things are going to be so hard here and they are going to be easy in places we have no idea about, So the purpose of this video, as I said earlier, was for us to be able to just brainstorm on the comment section and talk about exactly what is happening in Canada. Is it a trap? Is it that these things are just happening everywhere and this is just bad publicity for Canada, because people just know that it was voted one of the best places to live in, but things are hard everywhere. It's hard for Canadians. It's hard for everyone. Why do we expect it to be easy for us when we go back there, And just to emphasize, if you are looking for a job outside and you are using an agent, please stop taking their word as ile ati ni ukweli kabisa. Do your due diligence, do your research. Do not commit 2 million to someone who is going to throw you at the deep end, and then you have nowhere to go, or you have no one to talk to, or you're just clueless. Do your due diligence. People are just being trafficked also. I watched this movie, Sound of Freedom. It's crazy. It's crazy. And just because these things are, and you see, Sound of Freedom is based on a true story, and it's happening even to kids. So If you don't do your due diligence, you don't know where you might end up. Stop trusting these agents like 100%. Yes, they are the connector between you and Canada, but in between, can you please do your research? And also for the Africans that are watching, is it time that we developed our own spaces, our own continent? Is it really greener out there? And do we really need to just start rethinking our options and see how best to develop ourselves back home? To the people who are watching, the people in diaspora, what are your thoughts? I know few people in Canada. It's a place I've also wanted to go and cover few stories here and there. Just leave us your thoughts on the comment section, Yeah, so I appreciate you guys for watching and for tuning. The links to all the TikTok videos that we played will be pinned on the comment section, so you guys can go and watch further and let me know what you think. Thank you so much, Muga, for putting this together, and of course Sam for compiling it and making sure you guys get to watch it right on time. Let's talk, let's brainstorm what really is happening in Canada. Share your thoughts on the comment section. Santi.